Hey everyone, welcome back to our channel. If you're new here, please subscribe. I'd really love that. If you're returning, how you doing? All right, coffee, snacks. You're going to need it. What we're going to be talking about today is something that I saw that concerned me. And I was like, I don't know how I should take this. So I wanted to bring it to your attention. And I did some digging. Okay, so this is something that we should all be talking about. All right, so a top Air Force boss just told Californians, and it seems like for some reason California is trending right now. Okay, everything seems to be happening to or in California for some reason. That if China attacks Taiwan, American towns might get hit too. And I'm like, all right, what towns, right? Now, this is like not something that you would see in a movie. Okay, this is something that would happen in real life. Okay, so he's warning about blackouts, missile strikes, cyber chaos, factories, bases, maybe even your Wi-Fi. Okay, all fair game. All right, all of it. The U.S. is racing to fix World War II runways, prep island bases, and stockpile weapons. Except we're low on missiles and fuel, real low. And if this turns into war, it won't be quick, it won't be clean, and no one's ruling out nukes. So sleep tight. Now, the Air Force boss, his name is Brigadier General Doug Wicker. Okay? And he addressed civic leaders near Edwards Air Force Base, warning that a Chinese attack on Taiwan could lead to direct impacts on U.S. homeland, including California. And this is what he highlighted, okay? Now, when I did my digging, I dug, and I dug, and I dug, and I dug, and I'm like, where's it going to hit? Who's going to be affected the most of this, that, and the other, okay? So, you know, being as though we are people of the prepared mind, okay? When is this going to happen? How is this going to happen? I don't know, okay? So if you're looking for those answers, I don't know. Do your own research, okay? So, cyber attacks could cause long-term blackouts, infrastructure failures, potentially affecting factories like the Northrop Grumman in California's Aerospace Valley, where cutting-edge aircraft like the B-21 Raider are built, okay? U.S. bases like those on Guam, Japan, and even the West Coast could be targeted by Chinese missile strikes, including hypersonic and ballistic. A prolonged conflict might involve nuclear threats, with some U.S. officials and war games like those from the Atlantic Council suggesting limited nuclear strikes from China or North Korea could occur without escalating to full-scale nuke war. Okay, so Wickert's and his last name is Wickert. His briefing emphasized that the U.S. military's efforts to prepare by repairing World War II era runways, fortifying island bases like on Guam, and stockpiling weapons. However, he also acknowledges the critical shortages in the missiles, like the Tomahawks, the torpedoes, and the anti-ship missiles, and also fuel, which could hinder a sustained war effort. Now, is this realistic? So let's examine the plausibility of this warning, considering both the establishment narrative and potential gaps, okay? Because when I tell you I dug, I dug. So China has significantly expanded its military with the world's largest navy, around 340 warships as of 2020, projected to reach 400 by 2025. And a Growing nuclear arsenal, estimated at 500 warheads, now potentially 1,000 by 2030. The People's Liberation Army Rocket Force, or PLARF, P-L-A-R-F, has advanced missiles like the DF-26 and the DF-17 capable of striking U.S. bases in Guam, Japan, and even the continental U.S. with conventional or nuke payloads. So China's anti-access area denial, the A2AD strategy, including ultra long range missiles, some exceeding 2,000 kilometers, and space-based targeting, could indeed disrupt U.S. air operations by targeting runways and fuel supplies, as noted in reports from the Steinson, however you want to pronounce it, Center and Hudson Institute. So what are our vulnerabilities? Okay, well, U.S. air bases in the Indo-Pacific, like Kadena, Kadena in Japan, and Anderson in Guam, are vulnerable to Chinese missile strikes, and studies indicate runways should be closed for days or even weeks, grounding fighters and tankers, giving China a strategic window to act, like a 30-day period to seize Taiwan type thing. And the U.S. is critically low on munitions and fuel, and congressional hearings have highlighted that the U.S. has been firing missiles like the Tomahawks faster than it can produce them, and tanker fleets are insufficient for a prolonged conflict. So cyber attacks are a real threat, as you are well aware of, and China has the capability to target us and our infrastructure, potentially causing blackouts and chaos. So what are the nuke risks? Well, the possibility of limited nuke strikes is not far-fetched at all. China's dual-use missiles like the DF-26 and North Korea's arsenal increase. The risk of escalation and war games suggest a Taiwan conflict could involve North Korea, which raises the chance of a tactical nuke use, like at sea or even against our bases, without triggering a full-scale nuke war. So, however, you also have to look at historical examples here, like the Cuban Missile Crisis, which happened in 1962, or the 1983 Soviet false alarm, which show human judgment often prevents escalation. Then you also have AI-driven systems, which lack such restraint that could heighten risks if relied upon too heavily. So is there skepticism of this narrative? Well, fear is always used as a tool, right? The U.S. military has a history of using dire warnings to secure funding and public support. General Mike Minahan, M-I-N-I-H-A-M, his 2023 prediction of war with China by 2025, which has not materialized as of yet, and Admiral Philip Davidson's 2021 Davidson window, war by 2027, suggests a pattern of urgency that may be exaggerated to push for budget increases, like the $858 billion defense budget in 2023. Okay, so while China has reserved the right to use force against Taiwan, some experts argue that Xi Jinping believes that time is on his side, favoring borderline military deterrence over outright conflict. A full-scale invasion would risk international backlash, which is similar to like Russia's experience in Ukraine. Okay. The U.S. is taking steps to mitigate these risks, such as investing $7 billion in Guam's defenses and developing the Golden Dome. And these efforts might deter China or even limit the impact of an attack, though they are incomplete as of right now. So the overall, the threat is very credible. Okay, China has the capability, U.S. has the vulnerabilities, and they are real, but the likelihood of an imminent attack, like as in right now, within seconds, days, weeks, on the homeland, the U.S. homeland it's uncertain right now, So I don't want you to go, oh my God, she said it's going to happen. No, it's uncertain, okay? The warnings may also serve as strategic purposes, okay? So keep that in the back of your mind when you're prepping for something like this, okay? Like rallying support for military spending, okay? That might be the entire reason of why he's even saying something like this, okay? This might be his agenda, okay? More spending on military, okay? Years ago, I did a video about what the military base in Guam was like. And oh my God, it's terrible, okay? I mean, the military spouses, they couldn't even go to the base there and do any kind of food shopping. Bare shelves, bare. It was disgusting. Okay, they had rats in there and everything else, mold, and the freezers weren't working, the refrigerators weren't working. Maybe that this is a reason why. You don't know. Nobody knows. But keep all this in the back of your mind. Okay? Don't go full scale, oh my God, it's happening. No. Okay? It's uncertain right now. This guy might have an agenda. Like he wants more spending for the military. Okay? All right, guys, I'm out of here. I will see you in the next one. You stay safe, you stay positive, you keep prepping, and as always, fearless. Ciao.